Hey everybody, and thanks for watching Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on this Bougainvillea. And this tree I purchased from a wholesale landscape nursery. And it was what you would call a cull as far as they were concerned, because they want to grow trees that are very dense and full and thick, like a globe, because that's what people want to buy. So when I went there, since I used to be a landscaper and I still had a relationship with these people, I searched the ones that were the ugliest, the leggiest, the ones that landscape people or customers, retail customers, were never going to buy. And this is one of those. And I have 3 other videos on this tree that I will link you to in a playlist in the description. So this tree was, the first stages of growing a bonsai is the propagation. This tree was propagated by the wholesale nursery as a cutting. Then there's the stage that I call growth and reduction. So you let a tree grow like crazy, you cut it back. You let a tree grow like crazy again, you cut it back. And that can occur 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, depending on what you want to do. And so that was also performed by the wholesale nursery, because once again they wanted nice, thick, round trees. So then I took it and put it into this training pot, a 10-inch bulb pan. And once again, you can see that process in the playlist. And so now this stage is what I would call almost finished with training and getting ready for a bonsai pot. So we have a couple of things going on here. We have 2 very low branches that are both going to come off, but for now I'll leave them as a sacrifice branch. Bougainvillea doesn't really thicken up quickly, and I don't think this ever really needs to be a giant thick trunk tree. Then we have a decision to make on the first main branch. We have this one here and this one here. So this one here is up in here, and this one, a lot of it goes to the back. But there is an area right here that could also be part of the first main branch. I have yet to make a decision on that, so right now I'm not going to make a decision on that. And I'm going to bring the camera closer, because we really don't need to see the bottom of the tree anymore. Then we have this branch here that needs to be wired down into place. And that's really going to set off the movement of the trunk. So that's the first order of business. I have 2 different points where it emerges. There's one here, and then if we pull this down, there's this guy in the back. And then this one here splits into 2. Right now I'm going to try to keep all of that and can make a decision on what I want to do with that a little bit later. So when I'm wiring a branch, and I'm going to do both branches with the same piece of wire, so I'm going to come around the trunk, a turn, and bring the wire. And I always like to wire with the branch facing me. And that should be sufficient for that guy. And then for the smaller piece that's in the back, wire that down. Then we're going to take our thumbs to wire this guy down, put the thumbs on the place that it's bending so you can feel if it's breaking. And right away that creates more openness in here. And most of the rest of this tree just needs to be trimmed. And I'm going to trim that branch that I just wired, all 3 points. I'm going to leave the sacrifice branches. I'm also going to trim both of the first main branches, regardless of which one I finally choose. And then I'm also going to trim the apex. And I have an apex right here, but for now I'm just going to kind of leave it a crown. Further refinement can include wiring these branches down more and making even more pads. But for now I'm just going to cut the growing tips. And I also have a back branch here that I'm going to cut too. And that is really about it for today. And now that I've cut the top off, I can bring the camera down a little more so we can see more of the tree. You can bring it back a little bit. So there you go. Can I get the pot in there too? So there's the whole tree. So the decision-making process, probably the most important on this tree, is which first main branch do I use. I can take off all of this and use this as the first main branch, or I can remove that one and use this as the first main branch. If I use this as the first main branch, there's a portion of it. If we look in here, there's a portion of that branch that is very thick and probably too thick, so I'll probably cut all of that off and just leave this guy, if that's going to be the first main branch. If I choose that lower branch and we remove this one, then there'll be space in here and I can bring the back branch down into there to fill that hole. You want space between your branches, but the space should be fairly consistent. So you don't want a giant gaping hole and then smaller spaces between the other branches, because that just doesn't look natural. And I also featured this tree in my video on spines and thorns. But as I said in that video, Bougainvillea really doesn't produce a tremendous number of thorniness as a bonsai, because you're doing what I just did. You're cutting off all the tips. In order for Bougainvillea to really produce nasty thorns, the branching needs to elongate. And Bougainvillea is actually classified botanically as a vine, which is very interesting. But I'm really enjoying this tree. I think over time it's really going to be a tree that I'm going to enjoy quite a bit. Just, and in the formative stages, I've done, like no leaf reduction, and obviously it isn't flowering. Definitely could do some future decision making on the apex. But for now, the stage it's in now is in the final stages of being a pre-bonsai. I will probably put it into a bonsai pot come spring. So that's it for this video. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And when you subscribe, you can get notifications of when this tree is, when I work on it again in the spring. And go check out that playlist. I have 3 other videos on this guy. The initial styling, and then a secondary styling, And then I also use this tree when I discuss choosing a bonsai pot. And in the initial styling, I wired a branch in here out, you'll notice, and I snapped it right off. So I just waited for new growth, and luckily it did emerge. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as, you know, the crown of the tree, this branch was super important to get it down into place now to create that crown. And if we do that, you know, with our eyeball, then this branching here needs to be out a little more, but that can grow out in no time at all. And it really doesn't matter which first main branch I use, either this one out here or this one out here. So like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment if you are so inclined, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.